In Capital News tonight, national service vehicles begin transporting cashew nuts from farmers in Tunduru. Kenya lags behind in women representation in Parliament. Several soccer analysts criticize a national team defending tactics. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. 10 vehicles of the National Service have arrived in Tunduru District, Ruvuma region and began taking cashew nuts from farmers who have already been paid by Tanzania Development Bank TADB, with the farmers thanking President Dr. John Pombe Magufuli for the decision he made. Tunduru District Commissioner John Homera said that the cashew nuts that will be carried by the vehicles are over 160 tons and that they have already been purchased and paid over 500 million shillings for.
We
are loading the trucks right now. So far we've received 10 army trucks. We shall be carrying over 166 tons. So far, more than 534 farmers in Tunduru have been paid, and at least over 550 million shillings has been paid out. On behalf of other farmers, we would like to commend the President's efforts because he has done exactly what he promised. You see, there were people who were ready to take advantage of us. He has shown love and true patriotism. We must now invest in farming. We have farm implements in the National Cashew Nut Board Gallery, so I ask farmers to at least buy now so that when the season starts, then they are ready.
The Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan has finished the first phase of her tour of 3 districts of Manyara region. On her tour, Vice President Samia Suluhu urged farmers to use all the markets which have been built by the government in order to sell their crops and agricultural produce there. The Vice President added that the government has installed quality weighing scales in those markets and it has set the prices at which farmers' crops and produce can be sold.
I ask municipal councils and district leaders to make sure that farmers benefit and not middlemen. These are the very people who take advantage of farmers. The market is operating well, but not at a level we anticipated. The price in the world market has begun to go up, although we've had foreign buyers coming in to exploit our farmers. Farmers can receive an array of services such as warehouse space to store their produce. Our warehouse has capacity to house at least 2,500 tons at one time.
Inspectors from Tanzania Pesticides Research Institute (TPRI) have caught a consignment of fake pesticides for cotton known as Superkill, DD Force and Lava from Uganda, which have been banned in the country as they affect saplings, the environment as well as health of humans. This was during an operation that was conducted in Katoro and Buselele cities in Geita region.
We've discovered pesticides in sale but not authorized to be sold in the country. We would like to urge farmers. You see, there have been a lot of complaints about pesticides that do not produce results. This has been as a result of people using unauthorized pesticide. This particular pesticide is made by a company based in Mwanza and Arusha, so we shall be visiting this company to tell them about what is lacking in their pesticide, but we shall also be expecting them to give training to their customers or news. This particular pesticide container was brought as a sample by a customer who wanted our sales assistant to help him procure the product.
The government working with the government of Tanzania have both begun to implement a project to prevent malaria, and a special project has been launched in Dar es Salaam that involves all malaria stakeholders. When launching the project, the Deputy Minister of Health, Community Development, Gender, Elderly and Children, Dr. Faustine Ndugulile, said that they involved the Chinese because of the undisputed truth that they have done well in this area.
As we move towards malaria elimination, we need to come with the new and innovative ways of fighting malaria. So the experience that we've had in Rufiji is a very exciting for us all. The first phase, which has shown some good results. The approach of using the community approach, whereby using the 3T strategy, tests, treat and track, but having the touch of the community has brought some very good results. Very good results, and was being hinted here, the malaria prevalence has declined from incidence from almost 80% to less than 20%, which is very good news. And I must say, for some people who are new to Tanzania, Tanzania has been the hub of malaria research in the world.
And then we'll have the collaborative learning and adaptation or adapting, and this will be hosted by the President's Office, Regional Administration, and Regional Administration, Local Government and Regional Administration. They'll be responsible for the adaptation of the strategy that we are trying to demonstrate that it is possible that we can eliminate malaria using our own health systems structure.
Malaria Rufiji ni kama ambavyo mmeona pale taarifa za wenzetu.
Malaria in Rufiji, as you saw the information from Ifakara Health Institute on the survey they have done in our salty regions like Moro and Ikuriri, have reduced greatly. So may I take this opportunity to ask Tanzanians to give full cooperation to these scientists on the malaria issue in their areas.
The Chief of Operations of the National Road Safety Police, Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP Abdi Isango, has called upon drivers of both government and private vehicles to follow road safety laws, especially during this time when we're heading towards the end of the year. Commissioner Isango made those remarks while conducting a surprise inspection of the bus station in Nane Nane area in Dodoma.
In the explanation given on drivers and conductors, it's true, following the law is the right thing. For example, people standing in the cars is not right. And if so, then both driver and conductor should be taken accounted for. My advice is they should follow road safety rules and the signs. I always make sure my fellow passengers have locked their seat belts, and whenever the driver overspeeds, I say something about it to remind them that it's not right.
Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa has urged the people of Nacho Ward in Ruangwa district to work together in order to build a dormitory for Nacho Secondary School. Prime Minister Majaliwa said that building the dormitory will solve the problems which students of the school have been encountering in their daily walks to reach the school. Prime Minister Majaliwa made those remarks today when he visited Nacho Secondary School in order to assess how the project to build the dormitories was going. The construction of the dormitory will require 92.4 million shillings, which was contributed to by education stakeholders.
The information that the school head has given is that there are 192 girls. This one right here has the capacity to house 80 students, so we need 3 dormitories just for girls. We have more than 100 boys, so we shall also need 3 extra dormitories. You are selling cashew nuts now at a good price decided by the president. We must come up with an arrangement for all the wards in this area so we can contribute money to build dormitories.
A 62-year-old man, Isa Selemani, a resident of Mnolela village in Lindi municipality district, has died after being knifed several times with a machete by an unidentified person. This person had gone to help a 13-year-old girl who was a standard 6 student at Nikowela Primary School who was being raped in the forest.
What happened to my father after he left for the farm this morning? On his way back home, he met a girl screaming. Then he wanted to help, but this guy then attacked him. I got a call. I was with some good neighbors, and on our way, we met them heading back to the hospital. So we went to the hospital with them, but we had to go to the police to get the report. Now returning back to the hospital, the doctor informed me that my father had already passed on.
Ni kweli tukio kama hilo lipo. Tulimpokea binti ya 13.
It's true, this incident has happened. We received a 13-year-old on Saturday around 7 with a rape history. And after checking her, we found some stabbed areas and we checked her private areas, which were bruised. But so far she's doing well and we still are looking after her. When we are done with the examinations, then we will be able to give a full report. I came back from school and had my meal. Then I told my mother I was heading to the farm. On my way, I met a person with a wound on his cheek, black, and he was wearing a hat. He was holding a big knife. Then he started chasing me and grabbed me. Then he stabbed me and told me to follow him. He then raped me. Now there was an old man passing by. He stopped to ask what was happening after hearing the loud noises I was making. Then he replied, "We're just having intercourse." Then he stabbed me again and went running after the old man and started stabbing and beating him too.
The youth of member countries of the East Africa Community have continued to complain to the governments of their countries for continuing to provide employment opportunities to youth who come from the families of leaders and the rich, which has caused a significant percentage of youth coming from poor families to continue to struggle with poverty despite having qualifications. Speaking at a youth leadership meeting prepared by the EAC and MSTCDC under the sponsorship of USAID and GIZ, these youth said that despite the country having good policies to help them, a big percent of the policies cannot be implemented.
Therefore, my fellow young East Africans, I want to encourage all of us to take up your roles. You're the future and you are so important. This summit, therefore, is an excellent opportunity for you to exchange viewpoints and explore different perspectives with your peers. And through this discourse, we should be able to discover areas of common interest enriched by diversity of ideas and come up with better solutions for the benefit of the sustainability of our nation and the community.
We would like to see our young leaders holding political position in parliamentary positions and cabinet position across the region. We would like to connect these same young people in political leadership positions across the EAC to deepen cooperation and accelerate decision around the issues that young people face every day. We can talk about the Common Markets Protocol, we can talk about the movement of the free movement of goods and services across the community, but young people do not see that every day as they live in their daily lives.
The government of Switzerland has promised to continue to help Tanzania in forest conservation and proper use of charcoal, a move that will help 90% of Tanzanians continue to use firewood and coal without causing damage to forests and the environment. This was said by the Swiss ambassador to Tanzania, Florence Tingley, during the launch of a campaign to promote tree planting at Mount Kilimanjaro known as Tuje Pamoja Challenge, and was attended by various leaders of government organizations and private institutions.
Switzerland is it's supporting Tanzania in sustainable forest management. Charcoal is an important source of energy in Tanzania. For 90% of households use charcoal. We have to make it sustainable in a way that we manage forest, we manage charcoal, and we can produce charcoal from forest that will allow new trees to grow. So we can use, but in a very sustained manner and directed manner, not open that we cut all trees, and we can make sure that we give the chance to the trees to grow and to be ready in the next years so that they can be cut partly also for charcoal.
It does not take everyone on earth to bring justice and peace, but a small determined group who will not give up during the first, second or 100th gale. And one of the most calming and powerful actions that you can do to intervene in a stormy world is to stand up and show your soul. A soul on deck shines it like gold in dark times. The light of the soul throws sparks, can send up flares, build signal fires, and cause proper matters to catch fire. And to display the lantern of a soul in a shadowy times like these, to be fierce and to show mercy towards others, are both acts of immense bravery and great necessity.
And that is all for national news. International news is next. In international news, with Kenya being sixth in East Africa with only 22% of women in Parliament Senate as well as the National Senate, MPs in the country now have another opportunity to pass a law tomorrow that will ensure more positions are set aside for women in Parliament. Children that have been born with mental disabilities have become a cause for the breakup of many marriages in Rwanda, with some women claiming that their husbands left them for bearing children with this problem.
After I delivered the baby, my husband left me, claiming that in his family we don't have the norm of having disabled people. He asked me to take our child to my family because he can't raise a child with Down syndrome. The number of divorced women who have delivered children with Down syndrome is increasing day by day in Kenya. We are advising parents to raise their children instead of divorcing each other. These children have great IQs. Some can farm, others doing handwork like crochet, tailoring, among others. In short, they can perform better just like able children. If these children can be supported like other disabled children, then this nation can be surprised because of their capabilities. It has been discovered that once a Down syndrome child is trained well, they are capable of doing anything. Thus, we are calling upon parents not to hide their children at home, but rather take them to vocational education institutions.
That's all for international news, but do stay with us. We'll be back after this break with business.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand.
You must quickly think how cost effective are you going to be.
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m. But you can also watch the program whenever and wherever by subscribing to www.itvpopote.com.
Welcome back and on to business news. The Standing Parliament Committee for Agriculture, Livestock and Water, as well as some councillors of other committees, have expressed satisfaction with the move reached by Tanzania Research Institute, TPRI, in Dodoma region for testing maize seeds by using genetically modified organisms, GMOs, that can cope with armyworms and other pests as well as withstand drought.
Confirmed that maize seeds can fight challenges that are usually found in farms, including armyworms. We are pleading to our government that once it comes to research, we must stand firm and conduct our own research. Although there are international companies that comes to do the agricultural research. Coming from the Agricultural Ministry, let's meet with the Vice President's office dealing with environment to cross-check and review the section that prohibits this research to be carried out on other parts of the country, so that as a country we agree together by identifying areas that can be used to carry out agricultural activities.
The acting president of Tanzania Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, TCCIA, Octavian Mshiu, has said that many challenges that were facing the agricultural and industrial sector in 30 years of TCCIA have been resolved through discussions between the government and private sector.
We do provide multiple services, including participating in discussions between the government and private sector. These discussions are held 4 times in a year.
Public Housing Corporation, along with pension funds in the country, have begun to give out housing loans to members of the funds who have been contributing for over 10 years.
Among the things that Watumishi House brought at these exhibitions, we have projects in Dodoma, which is a good news for government employees that were transferred from Dar es Salaam to Dodoma. They can come and get the houses. Another good news is that we have started selling houses to private sector employees and all members of National Social Security funds.
That's all for business news. Sports is up next.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda.
What's up? My name is Sean Garnier.
I'm John Barnes from Liverpool Football Club. The hip hop, a hip it, the hip it, the hip hop. You don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear?
I'm watching Sports Gazette.
I'm watching Sport Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette
with Sebastian.
With Sebastian. Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And in sports news, Several soccer analysts have criticized the national team Emmanuel Amunike's defending tactics after the team suffered a 1-0 defeat to Lesotho and failed to qualify for the African Cup of Nations yesterday.
Generally, yesterday's game was a bit different because every team was taking the game seriously. For instance, we needed 3 important points to qualify directly, but Lesotho were at home and they believed if they get a 3 points win, they will wake up since they now have 5 points.
The national under-18 sailing team is scheduled to leave for Mozambique this Saturday for the African Championships, admitting that their greatest challenge will come from Mozambique, Algeria and South Africa.
Generally, Mozambique themselves, as the hosts, are strong due to their experience. But there are also teams like Algeria and South Africa which have high standards. Other teams are just normal, so we don't know how it is going to be with regard to how the competition will take place.
Alexander Zverev stunned world #1 Novak Djokovic in straight sets to win the season-ending ATP Finals and earning the biggest victory of his career.
Old Djokovic was the heavy favorite to win a 6th finals title, but was outclassed 6-4, 6-3 by the German. Zverev, the 3rd seed, broke Djokovic for 5-4 lead in the first set, then served 3 big aces to take the set. The 21-year-old continued to dominate in the second and sealed a memorable victory as Djokovic faltered. He had lost to Djokovic in straight sets in the round-robin stage, but after beating Roger Federer in Saturday's semi-finals, produced a more confident performance to stop the Serb, equaling Federer's haul of end-of-season titles.
Haris Seferovic scored a hat-trick as Switzerland completed a scarcely believable comeback to thrash Belgium and reach the Nations League finals.
Thorgan Hazard scored twice for Belgium in the opening 17 minutes, leaving the Swiss needing 4 goals to progress. Ricardo Rodriguez gave them hope with a penalty before Seferovic scored from close range and then smashed them into the lead. Nico Vedi headed in the 4th before Seferovic's 3rd. Switzerland will now play in next June's Nations League semi-finals against host Portugal, England, or whoever progresses out of France and the Netherlands.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring you this news bulletin, thank you for watching and have a good night.
Is amazing as it is. Thomas, hello.
Nice to be there with you.
What is the purpose of this meeting and who will be in attendance?
Talking about how African countries can stop relying to a large extent on...
We are definitely seeing a lot of deeply political films, either directly treating a political issue or with a political subtext.
Don't miss the live special report between Capital Television and Dashwell Television at 9:30 p.m.